My first special guest is my brother B.A. Welcome to the show.
Yo, what's the word? Debate talk for you. Much love to you, Sal. And thanks for allowing me to come on and share my opinion or share my words concerning this subject matter. Much love to all. Shalom.
Most definitely. My next special guest is brother Antoine from ABT. Welcome to the show.
Hey, what's going on, Sal? What's going on, BA? What's going on, Debate Talk for you, audience? First of all, I got to give all honor, glory, and praise to the Most High and Son Jesus Christ. Without him, I would be nothing. Shout out to all my ABT family, Josh, Lacey, Big Baby, LeVar, Elder David, Jeff, Casey, Kev, James, everybody, Felix, everybody down the whole list, my friends and family, my buddy Errol and Eric, I think they listening on tonight too. Thanks for having me on again, Sal. I haven't been on the show in a while. I think it's been like over. No, I was on there for DeAndre's class. I forgot. But just an honor and a pleasure as always to be on the show, and I'm very excited for your new segment, and I'm excited to talk about this topic tonight. So, with that being said, I'm ready to start whenever you are.
All right, we appreciate you. My next special guest is Yehukanan. Welcome to the show.
Hey, what's up? You can hear me, Showtime Sal?
You loud and clear. You good?
Oh, hey, what's going on, everybody, man? I look forward to this topic, and, I wouldn't mind speaking on it. I used to be in the military, so, and I hope other people will respect my view as far as, when we talk about Colin Kaepernick and the flag. So I look forward to tonight's, conversation.
All right, family, it's time to man up, y'all. We're going to talk about this right here on Debate Talk for You Radio. Well, Antoine actually reached out to me yesterday, and he, tell him what basically your conversation that you had and what inspired you to want to bring this to Debate Talk for You. Go ahead, Antoine.
Well, it's funny that you were actually even having this new segment, because I literally called you out of the blue because I was having a conversation yesterday with a group of brothers, and we just was like just discussing some of our viewpoints on everything that was going on, and so I was like, man, you know what? Let me hit up Sal and see if he's talked about this, because I know you have people from all type of different backgrounds on your show. Different, religious beliefs, different backgrounds, and from different points of view. So I just, what, man, let me see if Sal wanted to do something. Just so happened that you were having this new segment, and it fit in perfectly. This whole topic has been going on for like over a year now. This whole, quote unquote controversy, and it's really blown up, a lot. Especially due to social media, because this has happened before. A lot of people remember Chris Jackson, or his name is Mahmoud Abdul Rauf. He had the same issue back in the 90s with the national anthem. He was formerly known as Chris Jackson, the basketball player, and he had his issues, but it wasn't as big as it is now, because media has grown so much with social media. So now we just have this really big issue. You have so many. There's a lot of things being said in the media. A lot of truths, a lot of untruths, a lot of fabrications, a lot of sensationalism. A ton of sensationalism is going on. So I figured that it's like, man, it'd be a good topic for us, to talk about. And it fits that it's in this man show. I know a lot of guys who listen to your show also, of course, they're into the social world or what's going on. They're socially aware of what's going on in sports, what's going on in the news, politics, etc. So I figured this would be a really good topic, and and I'm glad that you decided that you wanted to do it. And like I said, I'm honored to be a guest.
All right, so let's get this conversation going. Yehukanan, you want to start off? Let's talk about I'm pretty sure you probably heard by now about Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys. I don't know if you're a Dallas Cowboys fan. You know what I'm saying? The Dallas Cowboys, they feel like more of a he felt like more of a mandate out there, telling the players if you don't stand up for the national anthem, you're gonna basically get in trouble.
Benched.
Yeah, well, be benched. What do you feel about that? Okay.
I feel like he's a hypocrite because wasn't it about 2 weeks ago he was on the field and he kneeled down with the team?
Yep,
not too long
right.
ago.
Mm-hmm.
And so it seemed like when Trump was telling him what to do as a businessman and how to run his business, he wanted to rebel. But all of a sudden, he wanted to now he wants to put this mandate out. Just because somebody don't raise their hand and stand for the flag doesn't necessarily mean that they're disrespecting this country. I sacrificed 4 years of my life to this country. And I feel bamboozled because there's a portion, the national anthem, that's been taken out that talks about slaves. And see, I didn't know this until Colin Kaepernick brought that to my attention. When he wouldn't stand for the flag, it caused me to do research on the national anthem. So, the national anthem was begging. There's like a whole other verse that took out that talk about they were proud to kill the slaves and they deserved death or something like that. I mean, come on, if you had that information, would you really want to stand and pledge to the flag? I yield.
And feel free to jump in, y'all, if y'all want to jump in and, say I appreciate it. You can. Are you there, B.A.? There you go.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I just want to add to this. When it comes to the to Jerry Jones, the owner of the Cowboys, this is the issue. Like the brother was saying, we know recently he took a knee. But notice when he took a knee and when the national anthem was played, he got up and he made the whole team stand up. So his knee, it didn't really mean anything. It was just an act of politics. Now, this is the issue. We have an owner who has a lot of wealth. He's a billionaire, I believe, and he's telling his players, if you don't stand for the national anthem, guess what? You will be benched or you won't be played or whatever it may be. But that right there is just going against the Constitution. See, that's the issue here. See, in America, you have to remember, when the Constitution was written, there were only one class of individuals who was really for it. That is the elite white class, those in leadership. And we have to remember, when the Constitution was written, our people were still slaves. So we have to remember the Constitution is not truly for us, because every time we try to use it or exercise our personal rights, as you can see, we get shut down. So Constitution only matters for those who are elite with wealth, and unfortunately they have to be white. And they are the ones the Constitution works for. That's who it's all for. But that is totally going against the Constitution. You cannot intimidate people for you exercising their constitutional rights. Which the soldiers who go overseas, they fight for us to protest, not for anything else. They fight for us to have a right to protest. So, and if the NFL players had any sense, they're backed up by the union, the players' union. And if I was Dallas Cowboys, if I was a member, I would influence all of my teammates to all take a knee. Okay, you want to play hardball? We're gonna play a little bit harder, see, and call you bluff. You got enough time, enough money, enough resources to lay off everybody? I don't think so. Not you.
Antoine?
Yeah, my whole take on the whole Jerry Jones situation is, first of all, to me, to clarify what he actually said, and this is one thing I'll talk about too. Is a lot of bad journalism that goes on both sides, and a lot of sensationalism that goes on. Because Jerry Jones, his quote was actually, it wasn't saying that a guy who take a knee. He said anybody who disrespects the flag. So in that case, it begs another question. Okay, Jerry, well, what's disrespecting the flag? In your opinion, so it goes all the way back to him, asking him another question. And, and like, okay, so you nailed last time, and then you stood up. And now you want to do, like, you're linking arms. Like, it's like this whole thing is turned into a farce. And the whole kneeling situation and quote unquote protesting is it's almost like it's lost all of its fruit. First of all, and second of all, it's not accomplishing, nor will it accomplish anything. It's not like it was in the 50s and the 60s where people actually boycott stuff. And it's not just us having to boycott. Like, if you've seen problems within certain areas, and you want to how do I say it? You want to see a change in something, you have to go about doing it the right way. Like when they had the bus boycotts down, I believe, in Alabama. You have to boycott. You got to go into the buses and using and giving them their money. These NFL players, like people were actually walking to work. So they find some other way to get around it. These NFL players, they out there taking knees and stuff. They're trying to bring awareness to certain things. Okay, I get it. But if you really want to send a message to these guys, how about you stand up while they playing that national anthem, grab your helmet, and walk off the field and go home? But a lot of people ain't going to really take that. They're not going to take that risk if they're really trying to get something done. You know what I'm saying? It's like, they're calling your bluff, and it's like the owners and the players are going back and forth, and now the owners are trying to pull their card, like, all right, y'all want kneel. Like, I'm tired of watching y'all kneel, because people do feel like, the national anthem. Me personally, I don't care one way or the other, whether you stand, sit down. It doesn't affect me one else. You want to sit down and kneel or whatever. I think LaShawn McCoy was stretching during the national anthem. When I turned on TV and I saw it, I literally busted out laughing. I was like, this dude is crazy. And but it doesn't affect me one way or the other. It's a song and it's a flag. It's cloth, and it doesn't affect me one way or the other what you do. But I understand that some people, they feel a certain way about it, in the light of they respect it and they want you to stand and salute and all this other kind. And on the other side, you got people who hate it and they want to do this. And each side has to realize that the other person has a right to feel and do what they want to do. My only problem is, and it sounds so bad, but it's the God's honest truth. When you work for somebody, and it's the truth. I know a lot of times people don't want to hear it. When you work for somebody, you can't just do what you want to do, regardless whether you're right or wrong. You cannot just do what you want to do. Like if I go to my job right now and I walk into the break room and something's going on, and I'm like, man, y'all shouldn't be doing this. Y'all need to be doing it. And I could be dead right. But if I'm causing a ruckus, I'm causing making people feel uncomfortable, then, you know what I'm saying, the HR going to come down, hey, look, man, we got to talk to you, man. You can't be acting like this. You can't be doing this at this job place, whether it's right or wrong. I'm not saying whether they kneeling or telling them to stand up, make it right or wrong, and all that stuff. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying when you work for somebody, you got to take it upon yourself to, like, make those decisions, and you got to live with the consequences that come with it. And to me, I think a lot of these players, well, not a lot of them are just, they just going with the latest fad. A lot of them really ain't into it. They just doing something just to do it. And I'm like, if you really want to make a change, the NFL is what, 80% black? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's 80% black. You think people going to want to watch football when all the superstars leave? No, they're not going to do it. The NFL referees, they couldn't come to an agreement. They brought in replacement refs. Everybody watch? They still watch the NFL? Yes, but everybody was calling in complaining until they got that new deal done. The NFL felt the pressure, and they got them back in there. So if these African American players or so-called black players want to, get their message out, which a lot of things that some of them are standing for are absolutely 100% true, then they need to take a really big step out there rather than just taking it, because all they're going to do is make everybody mad. Or they're going to do this, and if they want to take a knee, that's fine. But at the same time, if them owners are telling y'all, look, man, you gotta stop doing this, or you ain't gonna play, it's like hard. It's like, dang, what you gonna do? Because I doubt many of them would. I think some of them would, but I doubt many of them going to just be like, nah, I'm done. I'm done playing football. I ain't playing football no more. This other stuff is more important to me, and we'll get into this later. But I'm like, okay, y'all kneeling for certain things, but I'm like, within black people, in our community, there is way more important stuff that we have to fix within ourselves first before we worry about any of that other stuff. You know what I'm saying? But I yield my time.
I just want to interject.
No, go ahead. My bad. Go ahead.
No, I just want to say this, and I agree with Twan what he was saying. And when you do work for somebody, you just can't sit there. You have to at least follow the rules of the individual you work for. But we got to look at it from this perspective when it comes to the NFL. The NFL just started recently doing this national anthem thing. Matter of fact, it is a fact that they were paid by the United States government to start this so-called
Still are.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, they were
right.
they were paid by the United States government to start promoting this type of patriotism. So the thing is that
you're right.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying? So it's false. So the players responding the way they're responding. I mean, yeah, I understand your point, but they have somewhat of a point to respond the way they're responding because it's not real patriotism like they're promoting. And we understand that the NFL and the government they're locked in together to promote more people to go fight, to join the army so they can go fight more imperial wars. We understand that. So I just wanted to add that, and I do agree with you, Antoine. I do agree.
Yeah, no, and I agree with you too. A lot of people don't even know that. Like I see these guys burning their tickets because they're mad that the guys are kneeling or holding up a fist or something during the national anthem. I'm like, dude, give me those tickets. I might be able to sell them to somebody, or I might be able to go to a game one day or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, why you just burning tickets because the dude kneel? Like, do you know this is fake? You know, like, do you know the government is actually paying the NFL to do all of this stuff pregame? Because it used to be where they would do the national anthem and then the players and all that stuff would come out. And I remember back when I was in college, and I know some of y'all know, when I was in college, we were never on the field during the national anthem. They always played the national anthem, and then the band would come out. You know, I think the band played the national anthem on the field. It's just, you know, just speaking at my school, I can't speak for everybody else's. But they'll play the national anthem, and then once that was over with, you know, we still in the locker room. Then, boom, we come out, and they play our fight song. We ran on the field. Boom, ran to the sideline. That was that. And but yeah, it's like it's almost like they're forcing patriotism upon people. And if anybody has been to a game, and it's the guys not true, I've been to several NFL football games during the national anthem. Leave don't stand in the stadium part. Go into like the what is that part called? Where they sell the concession stands, where the restaurants are. Nobody stops. Nobody saluting. Nobody's doing. They over there buying. They doing stuff. They talking. They doing whatever. Like I'm saying, they're doing being just as disrespectful as you think with somebody else taking a knee or sitting down or holding up their fist during the national anthem. But nobody says anything about that. And that's why I think a lot of this stuff is sensationalized on both sides. So you got these people saying, "Oh, well, what are you doing all of this for?" And then on the other side, you got people arguing like, "Well, you're kneeling for this, but you got this problem going on." So it's a lot of stuff that's not being told on both sides of the fence. And I agree 100%, man. A lot of people don't know about that false patriotism.
Well, you know, the NFL is a non-profit organization, so that means like all that money that they get is not taxed. So it's billions of dollars that is coming in that's really not taxed. And another thing what brother said earlier, he was talking about boycotting. Yeah, that's one thing that this nation understands. When you take away the oppressor's money, they only understand money and violence. And so we can't do violence, you know what I'm saying, because the numbers are just not there for us. But we can do the money thing. We can't take our $1 trillion away from them. I live in a city in Atlanta, and Atlanta is the perfect place to basically start trading hands with blue and black, because if you look at the Ashkenazi Jews, you know, their money changes hands 11 times before it goes out of their community. With us, the only time money comes in our community, it goes into hair products. Let's say that's like only time we might buy black. Okay, you know, you go get your hair did or your hair cut. Next thing you know, you're giving your mortgage to another community. You're food shopping in another community. So what we have to start doing is basically let our money at least change hands 10 times, you know what I'm saying, within our community before it leaves our community, because that's what's going to help us. That's what's going to help people look at us different. That's what's going to help us get back our self-respect. It's us buying with us, just shopping with us, and us taking care of us, because we cannot rely on celebrities to step in and be, you know, just because they bring a bit bigger platform to help. It's going to come within us. It ain't going to come from our government. I yield.
I agree.
All right, family, this is Man Up, the brand new segment on Debate Talk for you. The number to call in is 319-527-6239. I see we got a caller calling in for free to man up and speak about it. Let's go to 443-815. Talk about it.
Hey, Sound Show time. This is Brother Mercy. How you doing, brother?
Yeah, what's going on?
I just wanted to say, man, this is another misguided protest by Colin Kaepernick. Let me tell you why it's misguided. Number one, the reason why he protested was first for police brutality. So that's a local issue, not a federal issue. So again, we're fighting our people again fighting the wrong battle. We should be fighting against the local police department, not against the military and the flag. So that's number one. Number two, Colin Kaepernick is not even black. Number two, Kaepernick don't sound black to me. And if you look, or Google's parents' pictures, they're both white. So that'll answer that.
Those right, brother. I got to correct you real quick though. His father is black. His father is black. But those were his foster parents.
Okay, so his father's black. What's his father's name?
I'm not sure what his father's name is, but I know his father is black.
Name is Kaepernick. His father's last name is Kaepernick.
No,
and that's not black, brother.
No, brother.
Hold on. He was adopted. He was adopted and stuff like that. So you cannot knock him. Let's look at Haiti for 1 second. Haiti was the first country to free itself from slavery. Do you know how they freed themselves? It was the mixed children. Even though their fathers were white and their mothers were black, it was the mixed children who came up with an idea to say, hey, you know what, man, we finna get free. So just because Kaepernick is mixed, we can't knock the brother because he's still facing the same struggles that we got to face.
My main thing is let's fight the police department, not the military, okay? Let's make this a police issue because that's really what the issue is. I just want to fight the right battle. That's all I want to do. I don't want to fight against the military when the police are shooting us down in the street.
So, Brother Mercy, are you saying are you blaming Colin Kaepernick and you try to direct it to make it the wrong blaming it on the wrong thing or for the wrong direction that's going? Are you blaming Colin Kaepernick?
Okay, I will ask you this.
I'm blaming him.
How does he have a beef with the military? Can you please clarify that? Because I would love to hear your statement on that.
Because number one is, if you know anything about the flag and the anthem, that's what the military stands for, man, the flag. I mean, and then the anthem, man. All I'm saying is fight the police department, man. They're the ones
that's
killing our people,
brother.
man.
That's speculation.
That's not speculation.
There is no soldier. Yes, it is speculation. There is no war. There is no soldier. There is no soldier. No American soldier. No American war is over democracy. It's for the cause of the rich. It's for the cause of the few. For the select few today to gain land. You don't go to there's no American war ever in history that was for justice, truth. It was never. It was all about personal gain. Why are we over in the Middle East right now as a country? Why? Why is our empire, our system, why they put more affliction on the people in the Middle East? Not to bring democracy. No, they're killing innocent men, women, and children, dropping bombs on them for the sake of land. Look up the opium fields. Look up all the drugs. Look up all the natural resources. So like I said, it's not disrespecting the soldiers. It's not. I disagree with you entirely, 100%.
And Brother Mercy, I'm gonna bring you back in. I'm gonna bring you back in, Brother Mercy. But let's go to the Colin Kaepernick issue though, because a lot of people are looking at Colin Kaepernick and saying it's his fault and he's directing the energy in the wrong place. Let's give the people your understanding of what Colin Kaepernick was trying to do. Go ahead, Antoine.
No, I was also going to say, and whether or not Colin Kaepernick was black, blue, green, or purple, he saw something and he was stirred up in his spirit. You know, he felt like he needed to do something. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter what he was. You know what I'm saying? He could have been green or whatever. It don't matter who his father was, who his father. And I know the dude. You know, he's biracial. I don't personally know him, but I'm saying he's biracial and he heavily identifies with the African American community. I believe he's a member of an African American fraternity in college. Everything that from the way he dressed, everything, like he really heavily identified with African. Even though he was raised by two white people, he still was, heavily, influenced by the African American so-called culture in America. So I mean, I really don't think that has anything to do with it. But as far as him per se, I think he's a guy who got wrapped up in the whole thing of sensationalism. I agree with brother. Yeah, the battle is not with the military, and no, I completely disagree. And I've talked to brothers who are in the military, been in the military. These brothers could care less about the flag or the anthem. They said, I mean, that's why a lot of them will tell you, like, I was in the military, you can do whatever you want to. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people who have problems with it, they have never even, even came close to joining a type of military. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, you disrespecting the military, this, blah, blah, blah. A lot of these people, they just haven't, they haven't, joined or anything. So my whole thing is, Colin Kaepernick, I think what he did, his intentions at first were good-hearted. I think he was a victim of sensationalism. I think a lot of things that are put out there in the media are designed to cause conflict within us. Like a lot of people don't know. I think there's a greater chance of you getting struck by lightning twice than by getting shot by a police officer. There are like twice as many white people got shot by unarmed white people getting shot by police officers, or Mexicans getting shot by police officers. But you always got to think, like, why don't they ever tell us those statistics? Why are they always throwing these things in front of us? This is going to be on the front page of the news. This is on the front page of the news. Meanwhile, we killing each other within our communities, and they're really not talking about it like that. You know what I'm saying? These things are happening so much, but they're not talking about it. I'm like, why are they putting these issues out in front of us? You know what I'm saying? Then I feel like, my personal opinions, I feel like they're trying to stir us up and get us all upset and distracted from something else that may be going on. But I know that when I hear stuff like that, immediately a red flag is going to go up my head. Let me look deeper into it. Is there police brutality going on? Absolutely. My personal stance on this, I'll just say this real quick. I think we should be almost like the UK. And not to the point where the police officers don't carry guns most of the time, because in the UK they have a special unit that goes around carrying guns. But to me in America, it makes no sense for you to stop me and my tag light is out and you walk to the car with a gun. Why do you have a gun anyway? I cannot have anything in my car, whether I'm white, green, or blue. Why are you coming to me with a gun just because my tail light is out? You know what I'm saying? Like, why? Oh, I forgot to put on my turn signal. Why are you coming to me with a gun? Your gun should be in the car. You know what I'm saying? And
can I interject for a second?
Go ahead.
I'm going to say this. I agree with some of the things you're saying, okay? But there is a natural fear when it comes to people of color. I mean, we have somewhat of a fear of each other. I would say there is some race dating going on with the Kaepernick situation sometimes by people of color being shot by the police. But you got to understand why some black people are upset about that. See, if a police guns me down, he going to get off with it. If you gun me down, brother, they just got 2 for 1. They got a dead black man, and now they got a free black slave in prison. Now you finna work for 30 cents a day, and you're going to probably be in prison for a good 15 years. So now they got 2 for 1. We gonna get. I'm gonna get some type of justice because you're going to jail. But the police is gonna get away with it.
And bro, listen. I agree with that. I agree with everything you're saying. But my thing is we get so stirred, like we get more stirred up about something like that, and it rarely ever happens. It really is true. Like I said, you're more likely to get struck by lightning than something like that happening to you. And we get more stirred up about, and a lot of times they don't tell you too. A lot of times these officers that shoot people are also black. You know what I'm saying? It's black officers shooting black people. And my whole thing is, like, I have an issue. And like you're right, there is a natural fear sometimes of black people. So, and that's why I say, man, just change the policy. I bet you won't see police officers. A lot of people won't be getting pulled over for nonsense if they knew that they had to leave their gun in their car. They'll approach you a lot different. They'll stand back, sir, everything all right. You mind stepping out? I'm stand back here. You know what I'm saying? Because regardless of not, if I'm sitting in the car and I got a gun and you walk up to me, the police officer, you got your gun in your hip. If I wanted to shoot you, there was nothing you could do about it. I just pull my gun and bam, I shoot you. You know what I'm saying? That would be God. Now I would never do anything like that. But I'm saying, like, why do you have a gun? Because you tell me to reach for my wallet and I go reach, you get scared. You know, it might be a young rookie cop, whether he black, Mexican, white, or whatever, and he just gets scared. Boom, he shoots. You know what I'm saying? So my thing is, like, I get it. No, you're right, and that's something to be upset about. But to me, and as a black person, I personally feel like we have so many other issues that we need to be more upset about. Like, how can we get mad about the stuff going on, like that rarely ever happens with police officers. We're way more upset. The whole hands up, don't shoot narrative, which was a lie. We go march, we go protest, but we don't get mad at, as a culture, we don't get mad at these rappers who were rapping about killing everybody, or rapping about the drugs they be pushing and selling, or rapping about all the guns that they got. You know what I'm saying? We don't protest. As a matter of fact, we'll celebrate the BET Awards like it's nothing. Like, oh, man, this is so great. But I'm like, how do you think everybody else is looking at us right now? Well, dang, they talking about they oppressed and they this, that, and the other. But at the same time, as a people, as a majority of us, I'm not saying you brothers or anything like that, because I know y'all ain't with that nonsense. But I'm saying as a culture of people, they're looking at us like, dang, they get mad at, a couple of these things that happen, but they're killing each other in Chicago every minute. They're doing all of this stuff that's going on. We got so many issues, drugs going on in our communities, abortion, single-parent homes, broken homes. We're just so messed up. I used to work in high school, and I used to see kids walking around literally with their pants mid-thigh. And I could not understand it for the life of me. Like, they had the pants mid-thigh, and I'm like, dude, nobody's ever going to take you seriously like that. I'm like, there's so many other things that we have to fix. I think one of the brothers said it before, like, man, we gotta fix some stuff, within ourselves first. We need to be more about what we're doing to ourselves. And once we can fix that, then we can come. And I think that's the difference between the protests now and the protests and boycotts that was going on in the 60s, because when you look back at the 50s and the 60s during the whole civil rights movement, a much better state as a family, as a unit, than when we are today. Today we have so many other outside influences. We all over the place, and we all strung out. Back then, people had homes. They had mothers and fathers, within the homes. They had a faith within the home, a sound faith. It was right or wrong. They had something trying to guide them. They was trying to do right. They had a hunger for education. They wanted to learn more. They wanted better textbooks. Now you can't even get a kid to get his phone out his face, or to stop dancing on Snapchat or Twitter or whatever the stuff they on now. You can't get them to stop doing it because they're so distracted. A lot of that stuff is by design, but I'm like, we need to be more upset about other things than I feel more important issues. And not to say that those issues aren't important, they are, but they should be way further down the list for black people. That's just my personal opinion on the matter. But
I do agree. No, I agree with you, Antoine. I didn't mean to cut you off, brother. 100% I agree. This whole debacle about the protests being on the mainstream media, all over social media, the thing is, it's to cause division. It's to open up a wound that has not been healed. So we have to realize that living in America, there is a major issue when it comes to skin color. That still exists. No matter how many people try to get around it, or try to rationalize it, or try to make it seem like it's not there, we still have a skin color issue here. Now, with the protests, I think I believe that it's a powerful thing that Kaepernick did, but at the same time, there are much deeper issues that are going on that need to be handled and brought out to the table. Is the police brutality thing a major issue? Yes, it is, but there are also other things that need to be addressed. Why is it that in our community we have more single-parent mother homes than anybody else? Why is it that the father is always out of the home? Why is our culture, we have a culture of death as a people, and we need to address some of our own issues within our own community before we can try to reflect the system that at times do oppress us. And I yield.
Hold on. Let me bring Brother Mercy back in real quick. Go ahead, Brother Mercy.
Yeah, I wanted to say, gentlemen, again, this is the whole problem I have with Kaepernick. Okay, we talking about 1,000 things, and we done forgot about the police. The point is, the only point I'm trying to make to you, brothers, is that you need to study history and find out why the police department was established. The police department was established as slave patrols to catch runaway slaves. So the police, a black man getting stopped by the police and having a natural fear is not something we just made up, bruh. That's part of history. That's a historical fact. You got to Google it. You really got to read books and understand what's going on. And so I like Kaepernick for taking a stance against the police. I just want to know what Kaepernick is doing to fight the police. How much money is he putting to investigate police brutality? Because once you start investigating, you're going to find out a whole lot of stuff. Like the state of Maryland, the state I live in, they just got sued for the state is almost going bankrupt over police brutality cases. Every stop that the police make in the state of Maryland is recorded and is reported to the courts. You probably don't even notice that this stuff the media is not telling you. And so the state of Maryland gets sued every year because the police is overstopping blacks over other nationalities. So this is not something we're making up, bro. This is a reality. So the state of Maryland gets sued. So what happens? The state of Maryland taxes go up. Why do your taxes go up? Because they got to pay for these cases. See, this is you not understanding. Your taxes go up because if the police kill a guy, that family sues the police department. The city then got to pay $4 million to the family. Where that money come from? That's coming from my tax dollars where I work. So we're paying the police. Understand? So, yes, I have a high expectation, and I have high standards for the police. Excuse me if I have high standards for the police department because I'm paying them, my tax dollars is going to them. I should expect professionalism and to be treated fairly. That's like going to a McDonald's, and I spend $5 to buy a cheeseburger, and there's poison in the cheeseburger. I won't be mad. I don't care if it's just one McDonald's in all America. I'm suing the McDonald's, and I want McDonald's shut down. You see what I'm saying? Because I'm not going to pay for a poison cheeseburger. So that's all I'm saying. I want the focus not to get off of what Colin stood for. I thought it was against police brutality. But now we talk about the anthem. Now we talk about the military. Now we talk. See, it done got way off from what it should have been about. I think it should spend more money on investigating the police department and, investigating these cases. And you're going to find, when you start digging, you're going to find out the state judges are getting bankrupt over discrimination cases, over police. It's a bigger issue than what you think it is, bro. It's really a bigger issue than what you think it is. But this is the part they're not telling you about, and this is what they're not educating you about. Understand why your state taxes and state budgets are going up, because the states have to pay out. Man, that's so. I think the state of Maryland got to put like $10 million aside because they already know the police is going to get sued for some of the police brutality or the stops and all that. Because every stop they get stopped, they got to pay for that. See, that's the part they're not telling you. But that's all I wanted to say. I want the battle to be against the police department because our issue is local. The past generation, our parents fought with civil rights. That's a local issue. That's not a federal issue. That's a local issue. Civil rights is local. So I just wanted to say that.
I just want to respond real quick. Much love to you, brother, and I appreciate your opinion. But I think we're both misunderstanding each other. What you just ran down, I have read history upon how the police got started as well. But I think what you're failing to realize is that you just said some things that when it said the state. The police represent, or they are a manifestation of the state. The state make the laws. Would you agree with that?
State make the laws?
Don't they make the laws? Don't the police? Yeah, the state. Yeah, the policemen are a manifestation of the state. Is that not true?
Well, it depends on when you talking about city police, because the city government is the state government.
Okay, but the thing is,
a lot of these police officers. No, but a lot of these police officers are not state policemen. They're not state troopers. They're like local.
I don't. Okay, but I think you're. Let me clarify this moment a little bit more. Do the police? Do they uphold? Do they take an oath to the Constitution? All police do that, do they not?
I'm not sure. I know the military does. I'm not sure about the Constitution and what the police does.
Well, I know.
I'm just telling you what they do.
Okay, and that's fine. But I know personally, the police officers, they do take an oath to the Constitution to uphold and protect it. So the thing is that if you're going to take an oath to the Constitution, guess what? You are also a manifestation of the state, which make laws. And one thing about that, they've taken the oath to uphold the Constitution. So guess what? They also represent the state. And guess what? And then what is the image of the state? The flag. And I'm not talking about individual states. I'm talking about the system. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, they may be, we have different states with different police, but guess what? They all represent the system that runs each state. Yes, federally, locally and federally, there are differences, but guess what? They still represent authority. And what's the image of the state? The United States flag. So guess what? So when
no, the state got their own state flag, brother. Each state got their own state flag. That's not true.
Okay, but every state, they do have an American flag, do they not? Do they have a flag in every state?
No, but see, okay, I understand. But see, you trying to jump things. The state
No,
has
I'm not
a
trying
state
to
flag.
do everything. Okay, in the state they have state flags, but
state law,
you disagree?
and brother,
Did you disagree?
No. State law is different than federal law, brother. There's two different laws.
I didn't say they were. I didn't say they were. See, like I said, you didn't listen to what I said. Still, the state, no, it doesn't matter. I'm talking about from an overall perspective. Yes, are there individual states? Yes, there are, but I'm talking about the state as overall. I mean, you can call the system the state as well, and they represent something. There is a system they represent. So, and it tends to be federal. Do the states take orders from the federal? Do they not?
Yeah, hold on. We definitely got some more callers standing by. Antoine, y'all hooking on? Anything I want to say before we move on? Got some more callers. Got Antoine.
Yeah, I wanted to say really quick. I agree. The message that Colin, his name is Colin, by the way, not Colin, but the message that Colin meant from the beginning was
Colin.
It's all good. That he had an issue with police brutality, and like the brother's talking now, you know what I'm saying? Like, yes, that stuff goes on. I'm from the South. I have been racially profiled by police officers before. I've been, stopped. I've had to call the police department. I had a guy fired. I had a police officer fired. He had already got suspended from being reported. They stopped me and my son at 10 o'clock at night. My son had to go to school the next day, and I picked him up from his mom's late, and I was driving back. Dude stopped me for a tag light, and I'm sitting there talking. Another police officer came. He's looking me all up and down. I said, "Is this your child?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's my child." Like, what are you talking about? We going back and forth and all of this stuff, and I wasn't being disrespectful or anything. He asked me if I have anything in my car. I'm like, "No, sir." He's like, "Can we search your car?" Like, "No, sir. I got to take my son home. We got to go." I know how long this is going to take. I don't have anything in my car. And he just started going off on me, and then he told me, like, we're going to find your drugs and you're going to go to jail. Long story short, they ended up calling all the dogs and all this stuff. This is how you handle police brutality when stuff goes bad. First of all, we got cell phones nowadays, which are a big help. You conduct yourself the best way possible, and then you get the names of the police officer. And what I did, that next day I took my son to school. The first place I went to was a police station. Reported him. 2 days later, the dude called me back. Yeah, he's been suspended like twice before. We decided it's time to let him go. He's not fit for our force. He was gone. Like that. Boom. Police brutality from that dude, or his misconduct, it was done with. You know what I'm saying? Granted, they are guys who are gonna be out there, and that's what they're gonna do. Granted, the police department got some bad people. They're gonna do bad stuff. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing we can do. It's bad season, everything that we do. But at the end of the day, I guarantee you, if that brother needs something, somebody breaking in his house or something going on, the first thing he's going to do, dial 911. Guaranteed. But I yield.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You have to start a paper trail. You do have to comply. You know what I'm saying? Don't be belligerent. Comply, you know what I'm saying, with them, get the number. Start a paper trail. Us as black people, we don't like calling security. We already know it's a certain community that's the first words come out of their mouth when it get hostile. Security! So, we're not like that. But, when we're dealing with higher authority, you know what I'm saying, we have to take those measurements. And, even us being as believers, even though our government is corrupt, we still have to somewhat, obey the authority that we're under. But the brother is right. That is one way of going about it. Colin Kaepernick, I don't, I think he's like our modern day Muhammad Ali. I big ups the brother. He brought awareness to something, and that's what he was trying to do. The one way that we could kind of get the police out, it's going to cost though, because it's like you can't pay your mortgage. Anything that's got to do with basically funding the city or the county, that's where the police department kind of get their money from. So we would have to kind of stop paying like our car tags, and we would have to stop paying our home taxes. It would take a lot of sacrifices to actually do that, to actually stop payment for the and then that means that we also too have to stop. I mean, we'd actually have to drive the speed limit, don't get no speeding tickets, don't do anything that's going to bring fines. So we will have to be real good law-abiding citizens as well, and actually not pay certain taxes and certain things that certain things like city tax and things like that. I yield.
All right, family, let's talk about it. The number is 319-527-6239. If you want to call in and make a statement or ask a question, feel free. It's called Man Up. It's the Man Up segment on Debate Talk Radio. Let's go to 404-921. You're live in the air.
Yeah, man. I mean, first things first. I mean, Kaepernick is to be commended. I mean, that dude put his career on the line, probably never play again, probably won't be able to make the amount of money that he was able to make finishing out his career, in other places. Now, he has the website. He's donated almost $1 million now to different charities, giving his time.
Yeah.
He is, like you said, it's similar to Ali. So, that dude has done his part. And that's without nationalist background. This was a dude who was adopted by a white family, but went to college and got some knowledge himself within his frat, and that allowed him to, take the kind of road that he did. But when we talk about police brutality, always remember, we're talking about state function. We're talking about the arm of the state, and the arm of the state in America has always been about policing black people overall. And look, you can determine crime rate by how you police. If I go into a neighborhood and I over-police that neighborhood, I'll get all kinds of quality of life crimes. I'll get, traffic tickets. I'll get all kinds of stuff. So once you do that, then you can have a high crime rate, and then you can say, oh, those people have to be treated in such a way because look at your criminality. So you justify what you want to do based on, your process. And the problem we have right now is we don't understand that we have to go after the DAs, the prosecutors, the actual people who are up the chain on this stuff, City Hall, the people who determine where the police are going to go, what they can do, can they follow a suspect on a high-speed suspect? Are you over-ticketing and using your citizens to fund your local population? All of these different things we talk about, like those are the the real heavy points. The bond fund, I don't know if y'all have heard of them, but there's some people out of Chicago, but I know. He's actually bonding people out of jail, collecting money and getting people out of jail for misdemeanors and tickets and fines and things like that. And their fight is to get money out. These fights that we're having.
You're coming in and out, brother. You're coming in and out. Are you on speakerphone? So you kind of coming in and out. Okay, go ahead. Keep going. Now? Yeah, keep going.
Yeah, so whatever it is that concerns you or thing you feel like you can solve the best, just put your time into that, and make that your work as far as this is concerned. But yeah, when we get out here and we start trying to measure, okay, who's doing this, who's doing that, or if you're a more revolutionary brother and you spend too much time talking about what reformists are doing, it's like, dude, reformists are going to do reformist action. Leave them do it. If you got more revolutionary thought, then you should be doing that action, not trying to convince conformists and reformists to be as revolutionary as you. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not going to happen. There are going to be different ideologies and different fights. So I mean, I think that's the thing that sticks out to me the most. Like pick whatever you think is going to be effective, that you can still have your family time, your work time, and everything else, and put your time into that, and you're good. You can look in that mirror and know you put that effort in. But we got a lot of black folks who come into this blame game syndrome, and a lot of the anti-blackness that's in the media, they soak up. And before you know it, you are blaming the victim for what is being done to them. Like when people say, well, if something happened, you're going to call the police. Well, hell yeah, you're going to call the police. You pay their salaries. You're a citizen in this country. Even second class that it may be, you're still paying taxes. You still are the ones who are funding those particular people. So, yeah, you're going to call the police. Not because, there's some kind of savior or something like that, but it's because that's the tools you have available. And, sometimes we say, oh, well, some of them are good. It's like, look, dude, if I put 10 Skittles in a bag and I tell you 2 of them are poison, do you really want a Skittle? Like, nah, that's not good enough to say some of them are good or some of them are bad. You can go to those DOJ reports from Ferguson and Baltimore and see that this is a systemic issue. This is not a few bad cops and the others are just good and just happen not to see it. Like, no, this is systemic. Across the country, decade after decade after decade, this is what they have done. And to be honest, if we want to be real, they've actually made private prisons a way of employing rural areas by locking up black folk. And all that is tied into the whole policing system, law, what judges are being, elected, the things that we don't vote in, that we actually do. And I'm not saying voting is some kind of magical answer, but I'm just saying we do have to know who our DA is, who our judges are. And some of those people got to go, period.
Yep, that is true. That is true. You know what I'm saying? It's systemic. Like I was saying earlier, this is not a local issue. This is you may have different cases locally, but this is deeper than being local. This is a systematic rule of oppression. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not saying all cops are bad, but the thing is that they are supposed to protect and serve, but there is an issue. So this is the issue with the media. The right-wing conservative doctrine, they are pushing like police are all good, like they don't do no wrong. That is not true because they're on the other side of the argument. But what about us over here? We're on the other side. Yes, if I had any issues concerning the domestic matter or whatever it may be, I'm going to call the police. I've done that in the past. But I'm also aware that the police do things. They incite things to make people. They incite, and what I mean by that, they try to find reasons to pull brothers over while they're driving. They do racial profiling. So yes, there is a systemic issue within the community. I mean, not just within. I mean, overall in the country, we have to be honest and address that. And for some reason, there is the media, the mainstream media, for some reason, are making it seem like the police are just God and they don't do any type of wrong. When they do, there's too much proof and evidence proving that. So, but I do agree with you, brother.
Yeah. They make the standard so high as if they have to prove themselves to be guilty. When the reality of it is, we actually know the true story. But just like the media trying to co-opt the whole kneeling thing, they tried to turn it into, okay, well, we're gonna hold hands for equality. And is this about the flag? Like they muddied the waters to get the conversation off what they didn't want to talk about. And after 9/11, there became a certain cop worship in this country to where not only is it hard to actually criticize whether they do a good job or not, but they're coming in with such a high threshold that, you know what I mean, it's hard to even stick things to them, even though you see case after case after case. So, it's a rough thing to deal with, but we know what system we're dealing with. And if you go back, a decade or two, you read the newspapers, you see the coverage was similar. These so-called liberals and all these other people would be talking as if black people were inventing stuff. Oh, the police ain't doing nothing, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like, this ain't nothing new.
It's just unfortunate that we have to go through it. I yield.
No, good. Antoine, y'all going on? You want to say anything? Yeah.
No,
go ahead, bro.
No, you got.
No, my own. I agree with what the brother said. There's so many issues within the police, just in general. Like it's messed up. It's corrupt. And I remember I had a guy tell me once. He was like, he stopped the lady. And I never forget, they told me, oh, this guy that I knew, his girlfriend. He said he stopped her. And he was saying that, you know what, man, I'm just going to let you go. It's like, I could have gave you the ticket, but, I was just trying. I think he said he was trying to meet, like, a certain quota that he had to get to or something like that. He said, man, because she was crying and stuff like that. She's like, I didn't try to do that. I think she made a mistake. She really didn't try to do anything wrong. She was crying. And he told me about that, what happened. And I just kind of looked at him like, man, this is ridiculous. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just some of the stuff that they do. Like, it's truly insane. And that's why my issue is not with the police themselves. My issue isn't with them. My issue with the police is not the individual, but it's their policies and what they are taught to do. Because they don't just get a badge and then they go out there and just do whatever they want to do willy-nilly. They are told what to do. They are taught what to do. My issue is with their policies, not with the individual person. A lot of people get mad at the individual person. Like, I'm like, dude, that's what they're getting taught to do. They're getting taught to go do this stuff. They're getting taught to go do that. They're getting taught, all of these different situations. So that's my issue when it comes to, you know what I'm saying? Like when it comes to the police, and it's not, and that's another form of sensationalism, because when you look on the left wing, hard left wing stuff, they want to tell you that, this is an epidemic that's destroying black people. But when you look at the numbers, that couldn't be further from the truth. You know what I'm saying? Like statistically, factually speaking, that's not true. It's not something that's just destroying the fabric of black folks. It's not. Like I said, like we are our biggest problem. But like I said, you know, it's with the police policy and what the police are taught to do and what the police are doing. You know, from like y'all said, like the systematic structure that they have set up and the things that they do to try to get money. Like you said, it's all about, you know, get that money, getting charges put on people. You always got to pay penalties and pay fines and pay fees. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to get that money from up out of us. But like I said, my issue is not necessarily with the police themselves, but it's what they do, and it's not just happening to black folks. If anybody, you go on YouTube right now, go look up people like cop watchers and all these other type of folks. A lot of these people are like Mexicans, white people. They're going around following police officers, and they're getting harassed like crazy. You know what I'm saying? They just documenting, you know, what happens to them. And it's all, you know, it's all types of people. And that's what I came to realization. I came to that realization about 6 or 7 years ago. And I was like, man, like they're being told to act like this because they're doing it all across the country. Like this is what, you know, this is how they're taught. You know what I'm saying? They're being taught to do these things, and that's a big problem. And so that's why I commend Colin Kaepernick for bringing attention to that. And like the brother who just called in said, you know, they're trying to muddy the waters to get away from that. Like, hold on, bro, you're bringing attention to something that we really don't want to talk about. The whole thing as far as like the killings and all that stuff, I get it. That's something to be upset about. But even bigger than the harassment, the following people, the stuff that they do to destroy people's lives, putting brothers in prison. You know what I'm saying? Because I really feel like they'd rather have a lot of them in prison than they would killing them. Because they're like, dang, we could have got something on them or found something on them. We could have put them in jail for free labor. You know what I'm saying? Basically. So that's a lot of it's a lot of stuff that's going on as far as that, you know, that complex. And I commend Colin Kaepernick for that. But in saying that, the brother did take a sacrifice. But I want people to understand that. First of all, I'm gonna say this: I'm a Colin Kaepernick fan. I won't say fan. I'm not a fan of a player. I just like I root for him as a player. You know what I'm saying? I like his talent. You know what he could do. He's an athletic guy. And you know I always had an affinity for black quarterbacks because they never get a fair shake, a fair opportunity. In my opinion, when it came to going to the National Football League. So I always kind of like wanted him to do well. The brother, he could play, you know, regardless of what people say, oh, he's really not that good. No, if you really, his team was mad last year, but go look up his numbers. The boy was balling. You know what I'm saying? He had a really good season. You can't tell me. I mean, he could start for most teams right now, and he could definitely be a backup on every single team. And he does every job, but you also people, you just have to understand that when you take a risk like that, when you take a chance, like Muhammad Ali, when he took a chance in his prime of boxing, you got to understand there's going to be some consequences that come, whether it's right or wrong. You got to be ready for the consequences for that. And the brother took a risk, and you know what I'm saying, now he's having to deal with the consequences. But like the other guy said, the dude is doing big things. I mean, he's donated over $1 million already. You know, he's doing stuff for men getting out of prison, helping them get jobs. He's setting up programs with kids, learning how to interact with police. What happens if you get into a stop situation with a police officer? He's putting his money where his actions are. You know what I'm saying? What he did. So I commend him for that. But now it's just sad to see that they've taken it now to this point, and they've made it just a wash. And even the players who are doing it now, it's like, what are you doing? Like, he's like, they're kneeling for like this imaginary conversation that they want to have. You know, we need to bring awareness and have a conversation for what? A conversation to who about what? What you finna talk about? You think they about to listen to you? You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, brother. You know what I'm saying? Not just because you taking the knee. That's not gonna. All that's gonna do is piss them off and get them upset. Granted, you gotta. If you want to do that, that's your thing. Fine. You know what I'm saying? But all you're going to do, like, there's ways we can handle situations. And, well, to me, my personal belief, if they really want to make some noise, I tell them they need to walk off that field. Same thing in basketball. If you want to make some noise, walk off that nobody's going to watch basketball if LeBron James ain't out there. Or if Russell Westbrook ain't out there. If Stephen Curry ain't on the court, nobody's going to these games. Nobody wants to watch those Europeans play basketball like that. You know, that's just the truth. You know what I'm saying? They're not going to watch basketball, and they're going to lose money. It's going to hit them in their pockets. They're like, all right, look, we need to try to find some legislation about this police policies that y'all got going on, you know, within black communities and what y'all doing in general. You know what I'm saying? Now, you really want to take some action, go out there and risk stuff. And that's why I commend Colin Kaepernick for taking a risk. But all these other dudes just jumping on the bandwagon, I'm like, man, dude, y'all really aren't doing too much, really.
Well, this is what I would say. When it comes to Colin Kaepernick, in some ways, we kind of let him down because when we see that our athletes or somebody who's standing for us is going to make a sacrifice, I think that's when we're supposed to come in and show that support and show that love. You know what I'm saying? Like, his jersey was the highest selling jersey. But let's just say if he came out with a product or he came out with something, I think we as the community in some ways have an obligation to support him in what he does as far as buying his products or whatever it is, some way, whatever, however we can get the money to circulate within us. I feel like we are somewhat obligated to him because he did make a sacrifice. You know, he's not playing in the NFL anymore, and that's millions of dollars that he sacrificed in making. But like Muhammad Ali, it cost him some money, but when it always comes to good people, they always end up getting everything back on the back end because Muhammad Ali, he didn't die a broke man. His estate was very wealthy. I yield.
All right, once again, this is the Man Up segment or Debate Talk for you. We're talking about the national anthem, Colin Kaepernick, and black people in America. The number is 319-527-6239. Let's go to the next caller. Let's go to 612-407. You're live on the air, 612-407.
Yes, sir. Thanks for taking my call. I think as far as the whole police issue, I think I may have a slightly different perspective. For myself and the majority of my family, we all have either police or FBI backgrounds, and we've all, you know, for myself, it's been about 15 years, and for all my brothers, a few of them are in the FBI. I've been there for about 10 years as well. And when it comes to the whole issue within the black community, one of the things that struck me, especially when I started working in Philadelphia, was I went in there with this idea that profiling of black people was based on people's racism and stereotype, mentality of blacks and they're just prejudice towards blacks and all this. Until I actually went out there, especially working in like North Philadelphia. And when I went out there, it just completely shattered the way I looked at the world. And I realized that a lot of this, what we consider profiling, comes from actual behavior of black people. And that all I saw out there was drug dealing. I saw rapes, kidnapping.
That's right.
I saw murders in the most brutal way you've ever seen. I saw children killed left and right. I mean, I remember one day, this is one of the worst days I had. You had a crackhead who basically robbed this mother with her children, and she only had a couple of dollars in her purse. And so the man basically, he shot two of her daughters that she had with her, and he shot her. Thank God at least she got to live. And I remember having to talk to her after this whole thing happened. And when after that point, all this like feeling bad for our people and, we're victims of this, that just completely went out the window. Because I'm telling you right now, all the people I know in the force, both in police and FBI, nobody wants to go into the black community. Nobody wants to do that. No one, it's like you do it because you're assigned there. No one at all wants to go in it because you know what you're going into. Number one, your life's on the line. Number two, you're dealing, you just, the shit that you see is just, it's hard to sleep at night.
Keep it clean.
And,
keep it clean.
No, okay, I'm sorry. But you know what I mean? Just because this is a real, serious thing. I think a lot of people in the general public really don't realize what we as cops have to deal with on a daily basis. The stuff we go into, especially when we go into some of these black neighborhoods, I'm telling you, man, I won't wish that on my worst enemy. I would never recommend anybody to become a police officer, especially if you're in the places like North Philadelphia. I mean, dear God, look. So this whole, there's bad on both sides here. I know a lot of corrupt cops who are racist, who do target black people, that have a vendetta against blacks. I know that. I know many personally. So I'm not saying that doesn't exist. But it's not like we're dealing with a bunch of innocent, Boy Scouts sitting around a campfire getting drugged into prison. It's not, man. There's a lot of cutthroat, people out here, man.
That's
especially
true.
in a lot of these major cities, right? I mean, and this is being honest, man. If you go to almost every major city in America, what do you see all over the place? You see a lot of young Black and Hispanic men who are getting involved in either drug dealing, gang banging. They're taking a lot of young girls and forcing them into prostitution. I mean, I remember 2 years ago I busted this pimp. This guy was 17 years old, 17-year-old Black kid. He had about 15 girls working for him. It's ranging from the ages of 9 to 14. These are little girls we're talking about that he would happen to go to school with or knew people that they were going to school with and got into relationships with them, would get them hooked on all different kinds of drugs to get them dependent on him. And so he basically, through a process, got control of these girls and made them, they were out there selling their bodies for like $10, $15 a pop. I mean, this is some sick, twisted stuff going on out here, and that's why people understand when people talk about the prison industrial complex and say all these different things and all private prisons. Listen, the reason that you got a lot of Black men in jails, you got a lot of Black men out here doing the wrong thing, man. That do not, a lot of men who do not care. They could care less about their fellow man, let alone a fellow Black man. They don't care about anybody else, including their own people, their own family, their own kids, man. And so we gotta reject this idea that Black people are victims. We're not victims. The majority of us are hardworking, responsible people that follow the law, that care about our community, that care about our fellow man. That when we can, we try to help each other. And then we got a percentage of our population that are a bunch of criminals that don't give a damn. They just don't care. And we gotta know how to separate people and not understand that just because someone has the same Black skin I do doesn't mean that we have the same priorities or the same way we look at the world. And so that's why I remember Chris Rock, he had a really funny skit when he talked about the Civil War amongst Black people. He said Black people versus niggas. It's a good thing to look up on YouTube. It's like a couple-minute clip. But that just embodies the whole thing. What we've allowed is we have a certain faction of people in our community who profit off of this whole racism issue. And they use this issue, I call them the race hustlers. What they like to do is they try to use this to leverage to get, political influence, to get some type of financial support, to get people behind their organizations. And they use these causes and they get a whole bunch of people on board with them. And they sell them this dream that if we engage in all these different quote unquote, projects or try to achieve all these political means, we're going to somehow better everything for everybody. But what ends up happening is 10 years later, nothing changed. And the only person that benefited were the people that were leading the organization. And all the people that were supposedly had them join to help them, they all get left on the wash and nothing happens for them. They don't benefit at all. And our people have been manipulated like this for decades, man. And we keep falling for this because they get everybody worked up and emotional. And because of that, people make wrong decisions. It's like how I see pimps treat women all the time. They sell them a dream. They get them on their team. They convince them that as long as they do what the pimp tells them, things are going to work out in the end. And at the end of the day, who benefits? Just the pimp, and it's the girl that did all the work, and she gets used. That's what's happening to our people with all this like Black Lives Matter is the example. Like they exemplify that to a T. They had a protest in my city where they burnt down I'm talking about a 3 to 5 square mile area where they were burning everybody's cars. They were breaking into people's stores, robbing their stuff, burning their buildings down. And this is in the Black community. They didn't do this in the suburbs. They were doing this to Black businesses, Black people's cars, Black people's homes. We had a bunch of young women getting raped that night. We had all kind of people's houses were getting broken into left and right. And then they would get in front of the cameras and talk about, we're just demanding respect and justice. No, you're not. You're a bunch of mobs who don't give a damn and don't care about living a moral life and are willing to do whatever you can to get what's yours and then try to justify your actions because of some injustice. That's immorality, man. That's cowardly, weak behavior. There's nothing honorable about any of these things. These people are not what we saw in the 60s and 50s when we saw honorable people who went about to try to achieve civil rights. And if you go back and look at how those people conducted themselves, one of the main things was a dress code amongst men and women. You have to dress a certain type of way. You have to have your hair look right. If you got in front of the cameras, you have to make sure you could articulate your position clearly and what you're out there for. That to never act a fool, because the whole point of the protest was to try to bring light to an issue while at the same time not giving anything for your enemies to point at you so you're above reproach. These people today have no understanding of that concept at all. They're out there acting a fool, acting like they have no morality whatsoever, no character, no respect, and yet they stand up and then with no shame at all and will demand people to respect them. It's embarrassing, man. I'm embarrassed when I see these people, and I'm ashamed that these people somehow think they represent us. They don't represent us. That's not who we are. Black people are not weak, immoral people. That's not who we are. We've been a people for the longest that have dealt with BS for hundreds of years, yet through it we still maintain a strong family within our neighborhood, strong structure in our community, a community that was all about character and honor and respect. And now we're just what? A bunch of thugs running around here with our pants down, acting like we can't even know our left hand from our right. I'm done, man. I've had it up to here. And this Kaepernick guy, who doesn't even know, this guy has no idea what he's even talking about, is just being used by these same political people. And he's allowed them to run his career into the ground. And he's going to find out in 10 years the exact same thing I'm saying, which is when all the dust is settled, nothing will change, and he got screwed, and all these people he's going to find out used him to get shine or name or get influence off of him, and he's going to find out the whole thing wasn't even worth it. That's what's going to happen. And I'm tired of seeing how people fall for this nonsense over and over again. And with that, I thank you for taking my call.
Thank you.
Yeah, he made some.
Respond.
I was just going to say he made some very valid points, and we are dealing with a harsh reality because, like the man said, him being a police officer, I'm glad he came out and admitted that him being a cop himself, that he has witnessed, that he has noticed that people on the force, they do profile. But at the same time, we have to realize that there is a issue within the black community. We do each other the worst. Our culture, like I said earlier, we have a culture of death. We do things that are just totally out of line at times. And I can understand the method and the approach some of these police officers take when they go into the black community, because when you surround yourself around a bunch of individuals who don't care for themselves, I can understand why they tend to say they fear for their life, or, man, I don't know if I want to go over here and deal with these individuals because you don't know what's going to happen. So I can understand that side of the argument. But we also have to admit there is also an issue within the police officers, within the police officers as well. There are issues on both sides. And rather you be left or right wing, they both are, the right wing is overly saying that the police are righteous, and the left wing is trying to make it seem like blacks have just not done anything. Both sides are wrong. But we have to point out that there is an issue when it comes to us as a community, and we have to point out that the police are there to protect and serve. But we have a system, and who represents the system? The media. The media, they are the ones who bring out all the madness and cause all the turmoil. Like Twan was saying earlier, in the black community, we have things that we need to really point out that really matter. I mean, is police brutality an issue? Yes, it is, but believe me, it's not a high priority on the list. We have to look within ourselves as a people and come to the terms and realize that our head is sick. We need to fix ourselves before we try to affect or influence the system to try to respect us or treat us as human beings. We need to treat each other as human beings. And that brother who just got through speaking, man, he said some very valid points, because I live in the black community. We all probably do live in the black community. And we see these things amongst our people. We see it. So we can understand why the police conduct themselves the way they do when they're dealing with a lot of our people, because they see things that we may not see on the daily. But we can admit, our people, we can be a handful. And I yield.
Yep. And I'll say this too, man. It's funny that you brought that Chris Rock thing, because I remember I saw this when I was in high school. I saw a comedy show, DVD, and one of my good friends had, and we were watching a comedian named Earthquake on there, and he said something about, like, he was walking down the street, and it said he seen like a gang of black dudes, and he'll walk with him and his wife. He said, "We need to cross the street." And it's a black dude himself, and he's saying it. That's one thing about sometimes comedians, they funny because they tell the truth sometimes. Well, a lot of times they tell the truth. And I sit there and I think the same thing. I'm like, if I see a group of black dudes walking down the street with their pants hanging down, all this stuff, I'm either gonna turn the other way, cross the street. I don't know what's about it, but that's a reality that we don't want to realize. We get mad about we get profiled, but instead we get mad at being profiled, but we never ask the question why we are being profiled. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's why I say, like, I've been a victim of that myself, and it is upsetting. It is discouraging. But you know what? I don't take my anger out on the police officer because I know, okay, he's mad at me because I know why he's probably profile. He may think I may have something on me or something like that. Like the guy who did it to me. You know what I'm saying? He probably had a case where he dealt with black people a lot of times and why he's like the way he is. But you guess what? You ran into the wrong one today. You know what my anger turned towards? My people. I'm like, they wouldn't be doing this to us if we wasn't so sick. You know what I'm saying? As a people, we are so off. We are so foul. And until we, take responsibility for our actions, until we take responsibility for the things that we do as a community, we're still going. It's going to be really, really hard. I mean, if you're, I've been to school with people. It just like. Our mindset, we are so poisoned by, first of all, by rap culture, the whole hip-hop thing. It's just like, it's complete poison to our people. We got people who, like, really, who claim to be spiritual, but they literally tell you every word to the rap songs that come on the radio, and they can't quote you one verse out the Bible or the Quran, whatever they may believe in, whether it's the Quran or whatever it is, however they grew up. They can't do it. They have no morality. We have no structure. And that's why I say that's a big difference between today and how it was in the 60s during the Civil Rights Movement, because we had more of a solid structure, more of a solid foundation. Now today, if we have an issue, like the issue of civil rights, was high on their issue list as a black people because they didn't have issues with these sick rappers rapping about this and us glorifying the behavior like we do today. We give out awards for this sick stuff that's going on, glorifying the treatment of, how we treat women, glorifying how we use drugs, glorifying how we selling drugs, glorifying shooting, killing, robbing. We glorify these things and rap so, oh man, sorry man, you heard that new man, that jump fire. And then at the same bro, man, I can't stand Donald Trump, man. He don't like black people. We ain't did nothing. Like, oh brother, are you kidding me? Mm-hmm. Right now, I'm like, come on, dog. Like, are you serious right now? And 2 seconds ago I heard you rapping to Little Trash Can, whatever his name is. He's singing all the song, every word to his, you know what I'm saying? And you doing it, but I'm like, how do you think? Yeah, like how do you think white people or I say white people, it's mainly white people. You say, white people gonna take you seriously, but they look at you, they hear you blasting music from way down the street, playing garbage. They kids out there playing the yard. Here you come in your hoopty, bouncing up and down the street, playing your loud music, smoking your black and mild with a Colt 45 in your in the passenger seat, just riding and acting a fool. And then you want somebody to take you seriously. I'm like, come on, man. Like this is like we really have to focus on getting ourselves together first. And I know everybody's not gonna come on because, like I said, I know it's a curse that's on us. I know that's something that we brought upon, our ancestors brought upon us a long, long, long time ago. But it's high time that I know a lot of people are trying to wake us up and get people to understand. Like, listen. This is what we was doing wrong. This is why we are in the condition that we're in today. Let's get back to living a certain way to where where we can get back to the to where we're supposed to be at, and that's keeping God's commandments, having a solid foundation of morality, to where we can progress as a people. You know what I'm saying? We're so separated. We have no identity, no culture. I had a guy tell me just today, he said, a lot of people learn stuff from black people. We can learn a lot from other people. You know what I'm saying? It's like we need to unite with them. I said, we can't even unite with each other. How we going to unite with everybody else? You know what I'm saying? When Indian people, when African people come over here, I got a kid who plays on one of my teams, and he's African. His family is African. They're from Africa. They're a very successful family. They have business. They work hard. They do everything, and they really don't even associate. They stay tight knit as a family, and their friends and their family. They're friends with other Africans and other stuff throughout the city. I said, wow, that's interesting. I never said that to them about it. I just thought in my head, I'm like, wow, that's really interesting. They don't interact with African Americans like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, wow, that's really interesting. Meanwhile, us, we staying right next door to each other, robbing each other, stealing each other cable, stealing each other electricity. Like, man, I've seen it all. I've heard it all. And I'm glad that the police officer called in to shed light on some of that stuff. But at the same time, while he's right about everything he said, at the same time, a lot of the reason that, a lot of stuff that we go through, I would say most of the stuff that we go through is all our fault. But there's some stuff that we just don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like, dang, like, really? Like, I got to go through this. And growing up in the South, I know it. I know how bad it is. I was from a very rural and country part in Florida. And because of me and my skin complexion, I was like one of the rarest people that you see around. There wasn't people that my skin complexion, usually black or white, and I was bright. I'm bright, so I'm like people always looked at me funny, and I got picked on, all that kind of. And that's how rural from a place that I was from. So I had to deal with all kind of racism and all that other kind of stuff. But I'm like, it doesn't excuse our behavior at all, and that's what I'm saying. Like one thing we can control, we can't control how race is gonna feel. They're always gonna be racist. We can't control how they gonna feel. We can't be getting all mad up in arms at them because they want to march and protest and all the other kind of stuff. Whatever, let them do. Don't let that have control over your emotions. Control what you can control. Raise your family. You know what I'm saying? Raise your kids up right. Train them up right. Be a beacon, be a light, be an example to the world of how you are, and that'll rub off on your family, your relatives, your friends, people that see how you live in your life, and they say, brother, man, man, I see you got a lot going on, man. You're a real smart brother. You this, you that. And, man, where do you get that from? And then that's when you break them down. Like, look, I've realized that, we're from this state, and, I feel like I need to get my life together. I knew something was wrong, and I searched it out, and boom, this is what I found. And this is why I'm living the way that I'm living now, and I let go of those other things. I became a new creature, and that's really that's what we need to do. We need to, as a people, become a whole new creature. Because right now we're lost, man. We are truly lost, and we're getting caught up in sensationalism. And that's why I kept saying it when the police officer that called was saying it's sensationalism. We're getting satire. Our emotions are getting stirred up.
Yeah, he's still on the line.
Oh man, all these black people get called and all this stuff, man. And all these black people are getting killed, and the cops are targeting blacks and all of this stuff, and that riles up black people because we are targeted in some certain instances, but they're making it seem like it's so much worse than what it really is. I've had interactions with cops several times. The two worst ones, one of them was a black guy. The worst interaction I ever had. And then I ain't talking about the public safety officer at college, which was a black guy that couldn't nobody stand. I went to a historically black college at university. He was a black dude, police officer. Couldn't stand him. He couldn't stand us. And it was the worst thing in the world. Like, man, bro, why you bothering us? He's like, you need to park your car down there. I'm going to write you a $100 ticket. I'm like, sir, there's nobody parked here. I'm like, why can't I park right here? This spot is for teachers. I'm like, but it's the weekend. The teachers are not here. And he just like ran around. I get my car and I move it, but like he just was like trying to make life a hassle for everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like he was going out his way, knocking on dorm rooms, doors, saying who in here and stuff like that. But that's just how just how things are going. But I appreciate the brother calling in. He's absolutely right. We got to fix ourselves. The stuff that our condition that we're in. Another thing he needs to fix pedophilia and the molesting that goes on with kids in the black community is absolutely ridiculous. It is sick. It is bad. I worked as a paraprofessional, and most of my kids, I would say 90% of the kids that I work with were black. Even though the population of black kids in this area was probably it's probably like less than 5%, but I work with 90% kids that and is a paraprofessional that needs mental health counseling, and I guarantee you over half of those kids were molested. by the time they were teenagers, well before they were teenagers. Some of them even before then. A lot of them have kids. A lot of them they come from all kind of crazy backgrounds. A lot of them don't have fathers in the home. Some don't even have mothers. Some of them don't have both. A lot of them living with great grandmamas. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got kids raising kids. We are jacked up. And until we fix that first, that is the most important thing. We can worry about once we knock a lot of those things out of the way, then we can put out that messed up stuff that they do in the police brutality stuff and those people, those bad seeds that they got there and within police, then we can start to, complain about that. But until then, we shouldn't focus on that, and in my opinion, we should focus on that, and I personally don't think anybody would take us seriously until we start fixing those issues. Like, I can't imagine a white person.
Can I get in at some point?
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say for the record, I told y'all anti-blackness can be triggered easily. All it took was a police officer, suspected black person, to call in and make a few statements, and immediately we saw where this went. So you could pull black people out of solidarity, out of thinking for the benefit of the group immediately by going to what? The black stereotypes, the worst of black folks. Say, hey, what about this guy over here? What about that over there? Every population on earth has a criminal portion of that population. Now, if you measure that population by the criminal element of it, well, hell, yeah, you're going to talk bad about it. Now, if you believe black people are cursed, there's really no conversation that we can really get to where, we could come to some kind of agreement or something positive. Like, in my opinion, like, if you honestly believe that, like, I don't know how you can be reached. But when you look at crime or anything within a population and a city, if you only look at outcomes and you don't look at the process of how it was created, you're not only working with insufficient data, but you go have a bad conclusion. The cities that he talked about, the high crime areas, you go back a few decades, they had the same crime with different people. They were Irish, Italian, Jewish people. Why were they committing the crimes that they were? Because they were fighting over the black market trade of their day, which was alcohol, which later turned to heroin. So now in the black community, where when you look at wealth inequality, black to white, there's a huge difference between the two. What does that mean? A lot of black people are going to subsidize their lives based on black market activities. And what is that? The drug trade. And what does that mean? There's going to be turf wars over that particular trade. So to say that, hell, the black community has a violence problem. No, we're talking about American issues, and we like to limit them to the black community and then act like these are black problems. When no, we're talking about unemployment rates, and you talk about no opportunity in certain cities, then yeah, you're going to have generation after generation of failure. But that ain't because it's black people there. That's because of the conditions of that particular community. Black people, white people, whoever you want to name, if you put them into a container where not much is there for them to achieve, then those are the outcomes. Same way you go to West Virginia or you go to rural Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, to these white areas where they got low test scores, high teen pregnancy, high unemployment, high use of opioids right now, drug epidemic. All those particular things you can see in another context. So it's not a thing of black people got to make themselves fit to be treated like humans. Like, think about what you're saying when you're saying it. No, you're a human first, so you should have the same rights, privileges, and access as everybody else. Prove whether you're worthy of it or not. Matter of fact, we one of the few non-immigrant people on this continent or in this nation. Most of these people didn't get here to the 1840s or 1920s. We was here in Jamestown. And we talking to other people who just got here about whether we should be respected or have the rights that a citizen's supposed to have. Nah, man. Nah, I'm definitely not going for that. And when we talk to a police officer about crime, if you're a police officer, you're going to see the worst of society, some of the worst, ridiculous, sick things ever. Now, if you color your opinion and your lenses with what you see directly in front of you as a police officer, it will be similar to somebody going to Iraq as a military man, coming back with PTSD and then telling me about Iraqis. It's like, no, you dealt with the worst element of that particular people. Now, if you make conclusions after that, that's because you had a serious problem. You know how many HBCUs are producing doctors, dentists, and lawyers every year?
Stand by, brother. Stand by. Let's let the cop respond. He's there, 612. You can respond, brother.
Well, I honestly have no interest in talking to him. Me and him have talked before, and like I said, suspected black person, I'm really not interested. I've heard, if I want to hear what he thinks, I listen to Sean Hannity.
Oh, wow.
Damn. Okay.
So, no, I mean, I'm not offended by that at all.
He's not offended. He's gonna throw a shot at me. Believe it. Me and him always argue. Don't worry about that.
No, because I understand where you're coming from, and the thing is, I used to have your mentality as well. That's why I was trying to make clear. Until when I dealt with life and saw how things really are versus what I perceived it to be or what I thought that it was when I was.
I'm sorry about that. Yeah, sorry about that. Go ahead.
Right. No, all I'm saying is when my point about, I didn't say you have to conduct yourself worthy to be treated as a human. We're talking about a concept that I'm pretty sure most of you, when you grew up, your parents taught you, which is respect is never given, it's earned. And how you conduct yourself personally is going to change how much people respect you. This is not across racial. This is in life, whether with your family, your friends, your coworkers, whatever you're doing in business. How you conduct yourself is going to reflect how people, whether they respect you or not. So let's say, for example, as a man, if you're lazy, not handling your business, not taking care of your kids, not doing the basic, means of responsibility, no one's going to respect you. They're going to look at you a certain type of way. The same thing applies when it comes to the black community. If you go out here and you talk about we're this, we're that, we're being misguided in this way, but then you go out and you perpetuate the very stereotype that you're upset about, then you're missing the whole point. And an example I can give was when I was in the Army, when I was in basic training, we had a situation where we were dealing with certain races amongst the sergeants. So all the black guys in my barracks, where I was in my unit I was in, we got together, we formed this crew, and we made this commitment to sort of look out for each other, and in situations we're going to stick with each other and do certain things. And now and we would have meetings from time to time, and one of the issues that would always be brought up is the issue of being stereotyped because we were black. People expect us to act and do things a certain type of way. And so the commitment we made, we said, we're not gonna give these people anything to point at us to show that what we're doing wrong. We're gonna conduct ourselves with a standard of excellence, so they have nothing they can say against us. Right? This is a biblical concept. I don't know if any of you are Christians or not, but in the New Testament, Paul talked about how he's telling Christians, conduct yourself above reproach, so that your enemy, when he brings an accusation, will be found wrong and be ashamed. So this is the concept we applied. When we went on the field and did certain assignments, lo and behold, we had a bunch of others who went out and did the very stereotype they were complaining about. And we had this issue over and over again, and it drove me crazy. And I said to myself, you can't complain about a certain thing, but then not conduct yourself in a way that opposes the very issue you have. And so my point is, this idea that what this whole victim mentality does is it excuses an individual from his own responsibility of saying, because other people are treating me bad, therefore I'm justified to act any way I want to.
Exactly.
That's the point I'm trying to make. You know what I'm saying? I'm not talking about, you have to act a certain way so that people will treat you of value. Of course not. All people have intrinsic value, especially if you believe in God, you know this. But the point we're trying to make is that you still have to have a certain amount of character in your life. I mean, what did Dr. King say? He said, don't judge me on the color of my skin, but the content of my character. Today's black people, especially the young people, their mentality is, don't judge me on the content of my character, just judge me by the color of my skin. They've reversed it to where your character doesn't matter. All that matters is I'm black, therefore it doesn't matter what I do. That's my point. And we've got it all warped up, man. When you live that way, then you see why we have the single mother rate went from 25% in 1965 to like 75% now. And that has a ripple effect, like the brother brought up, where you have, mothers bringing in boyfriends and people into the house that then turn around and molest children and start this cycle of destruction that started with the fact that the black man wasn't there to lead his family and to teach his children, especially his sons, having a work ethic, having character, knowing how to conduct yourself to be, respect worthy. All these things, they have a ripple effect, man. So you can think whatever you want to think. I'm talking about what's going to actually solve problems. And the last thing that people need is more excuses. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. Well, I'm gonna say, okay, yeah, no, nobody should have the victim mentality. Let's face reality. There is, in some people, in some communities, they feel that there is a placism type thing. They think that, as far as it comes to certain minority groups, that they should only hold a certain place. I live in the South. I worked in Columbus, Georgia, and let me tell you something. There was a white guy who had a problem with this black man being a being a lead or being a supervisor of that shift. He got mad when another black man promoted to assistant lead. See, he had a feeling of placism. He wasn't racist, so he said he wasn't. I mean, that might be some form of racism. I went and worked with the guy at his other job. He had a side job, and I worked with him. And in case he had a black friend, but occasionally he liked to use the N-word. He never used it in my presence, but he told me he uses the N-word. He grew up around black folks, he felt. But he still felt that black folks had only a certain position. He had no problem with them as long as they wasn't in a position higher than him. And I think every black person should read the Willie Lynch speech, because if you're saying, oh, the black man ain't in the home and the black man ain't this and that, yeah, I mean, we nowadays, we know that that's what we should be protecting our families. But let's look at the start of it. I yield.
All right, Antoine, you want to say something? Go ahead.
Yeah. First of all, we can't see, and that's a big problem is we can't look at what other people do or what other people think or what other groups did 200 years ago or what so and so did way back when. That has nothing to do with us today. And today, right now, we are sick. There's no way around it. You can't justify the stuff that we're doing right now as a people, the things that we can control. That's what I want to focus on, just the things that we can control, we do have power over. Those are the things that I'm concerned about. The percentage of single mother homes back in during the civil rights era was like around 20%. Now it's almost 80% now of mothers are single parents. You know what I'm saying? I think it's around 70% of mothers are single parents. Whose fault is that besides us? That's our fault. You know what I'm saying? Why aren't our kids graduating from schools? Why aren't they? Why are our kids, killing each other? Why are they doing these things? It's because we are not taking responsibility, taking ownership of what we've done to ourselves. First of all, stop trying to be the victim when it comes to everything and take ownership. Yes, racism exists. Yes, in that same realm. But at the same time, we have to take responsibility and control things that we can control. We can't get so worried and caught up and distracted by everything else that's going on when we have stuff at home, when you need to fix your home. You can't be out in the neighborhood worried about everybody else, what they got going on, and your grass ain't cut. You know what I'm saying? Your pipes leaking all over the place. Your air conditioning ain't working, but you're all over everybody else's house worried about what they doing and what they got to say and all this stuff. No, fix your stuff at home first. Get your house in order. You know what I'm saying? And it's like I said, it starts with raising our kids right, giving a common ground of morality. And to address what the brother says, do I think black people are cursed? I'm saying that in a biblical sense. I'm not saying that black people in general are cursed. I believe that anybody who ain't keeping God's commandments, knowingly not keeping God's commandments will be cursed. But that's just from my faith. You know what I'm saying? Just from believing in God and believing in the Bible. That's my personal belief in my faith. And I think that, people should keep God's commandments. And if you know you should and you don't, then I feel you're going to be cursed. But I'm saying black people were cursed because I feel like most black people, all of them, maybe not some, I can't identify them particularly, but I know as a majority, a lot of them, by their behavior, how they act, the things they're going through, I believe that they were the people of the book that were placed under the curse. So that's what I mean from that sense. But regardless of whether or not I think they're cursed or not, that has nothing. Another distraction. People get distracted by stuff so simple. And something like that has nothing to do with how we act or how we behave or what we do. That has nothing to do with that. We got to fix ourselves and stop trying to justify or make excuses for the way we behave. We got to stop doing that. We got to stop making excuses for what we do and worry about controlling the things that we can control. And we can do it, but it starts with ownership first. We got to own up. We got to confess boom, we're wrong about this. We really need to stop doing this. We really need to stop having our daughters dancing half naked on social media for everybody to see. We really need to start, getting control of what our kids watch on the things that they have going on, and it's just that we just get puppeted, and they don't even realize, they don't even step outside the box to think for themselves, and it's really sad to see them, not do that. That the people act like you got to be on one side or the other. Oh, all cops bad. This racism stuff is bad, or you got to be on the other side. Oh no, it's all good and all this. Like, no, there's a little bit of truth on both sides. You know what I'm saying? We take the meat, throw away the bones. But the above all of that, my personal belief is that we got to fix ourselves first. And I truly, honestly believe we got a lot of problems within the black community, and like we've stated them over and over and over again. But we really got to, worry about the issues that we have going on. And like I said, until we come under one way of understanding, as far as like what we're doing wrong and stuff like that, we're gonna be in for a whirlwind, because right now we're allowing the media and everybody else just to take us for a loop, and it's really sad to see. But I yield.
Yeah, I do agree. Like I was saying earlier, we have to change as a people. Overall, we have to really examine our culture. Our culture here, like I said, I'll say it again, we have a culture of death. And it's unfortunate, and what the issue is, we tend to always do it. We tend to embarrass each other in the public view, where everybody else can see us. Social media can be a gift and a curse. The internet can be a gift and a curse. But for some reason, I tend to notice, and I'm pretty sure all of us can agree, that we tend to see our people do the damage to each other on social media. I see it all the time, rather it be on Facebook, Instagram, or whatever platform that you're on. We tend to do the most damage to each other out of everybody else. We're always creating a scene amongst each other. So we most definitely have to get back to the point and learn how to communicate. And my thing is that as black men and black women, we need to learn how to communicate properly with each other, because that's the issue. It's our relationship as a people. We do not know how to communicate. We want to overtalk each other, and we want to conquer and dominate. That's the issue with us. It's all because you have a doctrine that's being taught now. I'm the independent woman. Or then you have brothers who's going around saying, well, I don't need a woman for anything, and she better be quiet and do what I say. So as you can see, we're talking two different languages to each other. So we need to learn and understand that, hey, as men and women, we need each other. We need to learn how to communicate properly, so we can be better. We can make a better effect in our own community. And I yield.
All right, family. We only have like 5 more minutes on the air. We're going to take maybe 2 more callers, and after that, we're going to pretty much wrap it up. We're going to take 2 more callers and pretty much wrap it up. So that means we're going to go into the overtime part of the show. You want to hit the overtime part of the show, you're going to have to call in. That number is 319-527-6239. We're going to take 2 more callers, and we're going to get some last words from the special guest. Let's go to the phone line. So let's go to 314-381. You're live in air.
I keep hearing people say this, we. And they must be talking about a very small, concentrated group of people, a family, or maybe an organization or a club, because there's a difference in the United States between blacks and African American, and amongst them, they all are not the same. On that issue about the national anthem, and if it is being done because of police brutality, blacks already have the power in their municipality to control the police. Police are nothing but employees. And if you let your employees run buck wild, that you pay their wages and salary, then the onus is on you. I've seen communities around Ferguson where, and here's another thing. If you got a 70%, 80% black community, your police department should reflect the people that it serves. Your fire department should reflect the people that it serves numerically. You shouldn't have no 100% all-white police department. That is totally, totally ignorant. And just like we had 2 communities, 3 or 4 communities around Ferguson that had that situation, well, that black city council came together after they put warnings out, and they dissolved the police. Darren Wilson came from Jennings. Jennings City Council said Basically, the hell with y'all. Bye. And got rid of all of them. And then they came back and they formed what they call a North County Cooperative. They started hiring people in the community and also recruiting young blacks out of the Normandy, Jennings, and Ferguson, Florissant school district. Check it out. They do the same thing in Detroit. They're doing the same thing in Atlanta with the police that work in the schools. They hire and train their own. And that's what you should do. Now, another thing, these football players, they have leverage. Kneeling on the ground, like I said before, you already got the power in your black community to control the police. Police is nothing but employees. You know what what should be done is make them carry their own liability insurance. That way, the onus would be on them, just like your car. You have a lot of accidents, nobody's going to carry you. Now, NFL football players who are 70% on the field, they should leverage so that they can have more blacks in those activities that go on behind the scene that make it possible for the game to go on. In concessions, marketing, sports medicine, coaching, audiovisual, all those areas that's dominated by whites, black players should say, look, in the next contract round, we want to see a change in here. Same thing with the NBA and the same thing at the college level. That's what needs to be done. And I agree with the gentleman from Atlanta, Naj. There is a lot of obstacles against black. You know, you can be married, but if you ain't got no good paying job, then what are you going to do? But you can't continue to wait on whites to do that. You got to get blacks more involved in these out-of-the-box areas. I work with a lot of Nigerians, and one of the things that they do is say, we are not dependent on whites for nothing no more than we have to, whether it's building ammonia plants, whether it's building power generating plants, whether it's extracting and processing rare earth materials, whether it's in transportation and communication. What they need to have, they go to the Chinese or the Koreans and use whites as minimal as they possibly can. So that's what they do. And by the way, I'm a Trump supporter, and I voted for him. And I also like the buildings that fell down in 9/11. I've been putting those up. I had put those up for 4 decades, starting in 19. In the last 10 or 12 years, I had my own company doing it. So what I'm telling you about what goes on in some of these employment situations as far as hiring blacks, there is a lot of that we don't hire blacks no more than we necessarily have to. There's all kinds of documents out there, stories you can read in the newspaper where that goes on. But blacks need to have their own companies where you can hire your people. But anyway, I hope that contributes to the topic.
All right, we appreciate your call. Anybody want to respond before we go to the next person?
I'm good.
All right, let's go to the next person. Let's go to 803-603. You're live in there.
Hey, what's going on, South Showtime? This is Brother James calling from South Carolina. What's going on? Can you hear me?
What's going on, James?
Hey, just wanted to comment, man. I think the police officer brought up a great comment where he pointed out how the media, pushes these false narratives upon the people. I believe, just to get a reaction, and I heard comments the word sensationalism, emotional sensationalism, that a lot of this stuff, the result from it is just civil unrest. It brings about the civil unrest and, the problems are never solved. And so, I think as a community, as a people, we really need to sit down and not be motivated through the media, that we need to sit down and get our facts together and to respond collectively, in a godly manner, to make sure we're not out there, going against the Most High when we get together and we do these protests. And for once to not be played as a fool, to understand our position properly before we get out there and we protest, and we don't just regurgitate what we see in the media, that we do our own research and we figure out what's going on. So I just think that's very important, that we don't react to the media, because the media is not there. It doesn't have our best interests in mind. It's there to push us in certain directions. So that's my comment, man. I appreciate all the comments. The dialogue was edifying. Praise to the Most High. God bless y'all, man.
All right, we appreciate all the callers out there that participated and gave their input on the segment of Man Up. If you like this particular segment and you want us to address more topics, send me an email, debatetalkforyou@gmail.com. That's debatetalk the number 4 and the letter U at gmail.com, and we'll tackle some more topics, But let's get some last words from the special guest. Let's go to my brother B.A. Last words.
Yeah, much love to everybody that came and voiced their opinion. I appreciate it, even though I know there are some things we agree a lot, and there's some things that we have disagreements on. But the thing that we do notice that there is a systemic issue within this country, and it's been like that for a very long time. And what we have to do as human beings is make it a point to call it out for what it is, and to find ways to effectively handle it, so we won't have these big old messovers like we're having all over the world right now when it comes to the media with Trump and the various other stuff that's going on. So what we have to do, and like the one of the brothers was saying, our personal conduct is very important. If you conduct yourselves properly in society, you'll get that respect. And I yield.
All right, Yehukanan, last words?
Yeah, I would say what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to come together. We're going to have to put sometimes we got to put our beliefs to the side, because when we go to work, you understand what I'm saying? We work with all types of people. We work with racist people. We work with Muslims. We work with whoever, man. And we put our differences aside to achieve a goal. So us as a community, sometimes we're going to just have to put whatever ideologies aside and just come together for the sake of our community. We know the traps that were set for us. It's so sad that we know these traps and we still fall into it. So we do have to fix one another. We do have to fix, each other. You know what I'm saying? I commend Kaepernick and for what he stands for. And also, some of my brothers who don't see things the way I see things, I still have love for them, and they have a right for their choice, and they have a right for their opinion. And I don't need to bang on them or make them feel discomfort because they believe differently or see life differently. And I think a lot of times we are victims of get like me. It's like, if I'm this, I want you to be like me. No. Accept your brother and love him for his differences and for who he is. Because if you're really trying to win people, your lifestyle is going to draw people to you. So I say draw people to you in righteousness. And I yield. And everybody be blessed. And I support Showtime style. I yield.
All right, man. We appreciate that. Antoine, last words.
Thank you, Sal, for having me on the show. Thank you to everybody that called in and to the other panelists. I felt like this conversation was a really good and productive one as far as just getting everybody's opinions out on the matter and just getting real talk, because, we hear a lot about people like, we need to have a talk, we need to have a conversation. And with this platform, it allowed us to have a conversation. Now, of course, it'll be, I know you'll put it on YouTube and more people will be able to hear and discuss, certain things, and hopefully that, we inspire somebody to hear something that they may have never heard before, and that gives them a different outlook on certain things. I encourage everybody to not be so easily swindled and swayed by everything that you see on the news. Make sure you take the time, personal research, and investigate into things before you just take it and run with it. Also, be able to look yourself in the mirror and try not to be a hypocrite in your thoughts and actions the best way that you can. I know nobody's perfect. We all gonna make mistakes. We all fall short. But just try to make sure, your personal conduct is to the best of your ability. I know everybody has their struggles, but, we all try to, do the best way that we know how, and try to let your light shine on other people so we can grow. I want to say thank you. Big shout out to my ABT family, everybody over there, everybody that's listening in. Appreciate y'all's support, and my friends and family who are listening in. That's how I got me up way past my bedtime. But last thing, going forward with this Man Up series that you have going. I really like the idea. You know, I like when people can come around and just sit down and talk about stuff, the real stuff that's going on in the world, and get people's thoughts and opinions. Because we've heard the extreme from one side to the extreme to the other side. We've had liberals call in and Trump supporters call in, and it's really good to see it all laid out and be able to have that conversation like that. And I was really glad that the brothers was definitely on the same page as far as us as a people being realistic and honest with ourselves about our conduct and our stuff. I know I catch a lot of flack from people all the time, like, man, why you don't want to go to clubs and why you don't want to do this and stuff like that. Like, man, I can't support that stuff and in the same breath, turn around and say other things. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't be like that. I got to be different. I got to be set apart. You know what I'm saying? That I want to try to live because I feel like it's what's best for us as a people. But Sal, man, I really appreciate you. I appreciate your platform. Thank you for everything that you do. And like the brother said, man, support Sal, man. Y'all send donations. Y'all keep the show going. The brother's doing a great job giving people, a platform to get stuff out there. So please, there's another problem that we have. We don't support each other. We don't support black businesses and things that black folks do. So, man, y'all get out there and y'all support Sal Showtime, man. But after that's all I got, man. Peace.
All right, we appreciate y'all most definitely. And if you want to keep the show on the air, you like the content, you like the many segments and special guests we have on the platform, and you want to donate, all you got to do is go to PayPal, use the email, debatetalkforyou@gmail.com. That's debatetalk, the number 4, letter U, @gmail.com, and send your donations, and that'll ensure that this program will remain on the air for years and years and years to come. We appreciate the people that have donated in the past and present. Much love to you guys. We're going to see you guys next time. Take care, and God bless.